Hey there, welcome back to GrayBush Knits. My name is Hannah, and today we are going to have my second podcast episode. First of all, I want to say a gigantic thank you to everyone that has watched that first episode, has liked it, has commented. All of that feedback has meant so much to me in getting started, and it's a great feeling to pop on there, read your comments, respond to you, kind of sit and visit a little bit. And it's so wonderful, the community that is already starting, and I am so incredibly thankful. So I just wanted to tell you all how much that means to me. And welcome to those of you who have not been here before. If you are interested in some knitting information, some different podcasts, as well as I'm going to be posting some different videos on different yarns and comparing some of those, or even as we get into the summer months, I'll be posting some videos having to do with my garden and the way that I turn that into an income in the summertime with providing some fresh produce as well as sourdough at my local farmers markets. So I'm really excited to be able to share all of that with you. If that's something you're interested in, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and it really means so incredibly much to me. Also, really quick before we jump in, I do want to let you know I did post a video this past Wednesday reviewing a Vogue knitting guidebook, and I just wanted to make sure to let you know about that video being up. If it's something that you're interested in, go check that out. I will link it down below or up here in the corner, however I can do that. If that is a book that you have not looked into, I definitely would recommend it. I was really pleased overall. I do have a couple we'll say issues with the book, but it's more in the finished product, not with the information. So I don't want to give away anything. You'll have to go check out that video for more of that. Also, if you didn't stick around to the very end, be sure to do that. I did include just a slight blooper that I really just couldn't resist. I know it's silly, but I couldn't cut it completely out. I was laughing at myself so much while I was editing, and that's the only one I left in. But anyway, so jumping into today's video. First of all, I am wearing my sea glass sweater. This is a wool and pine design, and this is intended to be a scrappy project. So it is a yoke sweater, work from the top down. It is meant to be able to use up all your scraps, and I love the sweater. I do want to make it in the version that it was intended. I had found some yarn, I fell in love. My husband got some for me, way more than what I needed for the sweater, by the way, so I have like so many skeins of it in the closet. So it is one of those yarns that I decided to use the pattern that I had already purchased with the yarn that I had and make it work. So overall, this sweater is in orange, purple, and green. It is called Mrs. Weasley's sweater, and I don't necessarily get Mrs. Weasley vibes from this sweater. I do, however, get Weasley twins vibes from this sweater. So I will tell you there are some problems, and the main portion is that I was a new knitter. I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't do any research. I just jumped in, and you know what? That's okay, because I'm still really happy with this sweater. I finished it in 2020, was it 22? Maybe it was early 23. Anyway, no, it would have been in 22. So I believe, well, it's a nylon and wool blend. I believe it's 75-25, which I didn't realize, obviously, when I was making this sweater, because at the time I didn't know what that meant. I didn't really care. I would say it's not a bad makeup for a sweater. I stay warm, but it's not excessively so. I did also this collar, the waistband, and the sleeves, I used hand-dyed cotton. So, you know, it's just a mismatch. I wash it by hand. I don't care that it is different. I like the cotton on my neck. I love the structure of this. I do not mind the way this fits. So in the first podcast, I talk about my fall favorite sweater and it being a round yoke, and just how I wasn't so sure that I wanted to continue to make yoke style sweaters. But I will say, when I put this one on today to be able to wear it, I was very pleasantly happy with the fit and the structure of it. I like how loose it is. I like how comfortable it is. Got little Pippin hopping into the video. I'm telling you, my cats are super curious today, so I will likely have to stop partway through to yell at her to not jump up on this cabinet. You! No. She's so cute. Ugh. We call her Mittens because she will jump out of the bathroom and throw her hands in the air at you, trying to jump out at you. Overall, I'm really happy with this sweater. I highly recommend this for pretty much anyone, as far as like the wool and nylon blend. One other thing that I should have done when I was making this is I should have grabbed 2 yarn balls and worked them at the same time, but I didn't do that. So you can see here on my sleeve how it all blends into each other. It's almost in every other, I'm noticing. I don't really notice what I'm wearing, but it's almost every other row that's striped, right? And then on my sweater, it gets much more grouped together. And I think that wouldn't have happened if I would have used multiple skeins at the same time, which at the time I didn't know I was supposed to do. So anyway, overall, I am really happy with this sweater. It's not something that I was worried about enough to go back and fix it. I love it. It's funky, it's silly, and it makes me happy. Next up is my finished objects. So this week, I don't have anything done. I have made really good progress on both of my projects, and I didn't actually finish anything, but I'm okay with that because if you watch my first podcast, you'll know I came into the new year with nothing on the needles except for my Sunday socks, which were me kind of practicing sock work on 2 cable needles, working to it at the same time. And so I was really okay with the fact that I haven't finished anything in this past week. And that kind of leads me on to my projects. So I don't think that they were touched until middle of the week. So I've only worked on these 2 days this week, okay? These were knit up. It's just gonna be all color today. That's okay, because it is dark and dreary outside. We finally had snow here for the first time. It snowed at 10:30 and it was warmed up by noon and it was melted by 1. So anyway, moving on. These are those socks. How can I do this so that it does not focus on my face? There we go. So obviously I finished the ankle. I've got my heel flap here and I've got a couple inches into the foot. So these are going really, really well. And like I said, 2 at a time. So I have 2 that are that far. It's so incredibly satisfying to work on 2 socks at the same time. And then the DK weight just makes it that much faster of a project. So last week we were here. I didn't actually put my marker in, and I should have actually looked at the video, but I was lazy and I didn't. I'm sorry. But I think we were about here last week on these socks. And so in that 2 days, like I said, that we've worked on these, or that I've worked on these, I've gotten that far on 2 socks. So I cannot recommend this enough to somebody who's getting started in sock work and trying to get the hang of it and practicing 2 at a time. It's a great option. The yarn is really great to work with. I have tried these on multiple times and I really like how they feel on my feet so far. Almost, well, a comfortable house sock. Or if you've got like a pair of boots and you need to wear a second pair of socks with them, or even if you just want to have a thicker pair of socks with like cowboy boots or something like that, these would be a great option. The one problem that I have had in working on these is I got down to here and I was gonna continue because I think that the pattern, they're really tall, they're super slouchy and squishy, but these, they want to stand up. They want to stand up on their own. I mean, I'm trying to keep it from completely falling over, but I'm not actually pulling on it at all. So they want to stand up. They don't want to be slouchy. And even when I put them on my feet, and I think it's probably because of the acrylic, or maybe it's because they haven't been washed. If you have any insight, please leave a comment down below. I would love to actually know what's causing this for real. But they just have so much structure to them that I pull these up, and at the widest part, as wide as it will go, it gets caught on my calves and won't go up any higher, and I can't get them to slouch. So I said, nah, I'm not gonna fight with them. My intention now is to fold them over, and then they'll be really cute just like this. And I like them even like that. So that is how I'm proceeding right now. I'm working, like I said, I'm a couple inches into the foot. I'm not quite halfway yet because I have big feet. I did make one mistake that I am very well aware of, and I realized it at a point where I felt I did not want to go back and fix it. My mom has a slightly smaller foot, and so if these get to the point to where they will not fit me because of that mistake, they're just going to be sent to my mom, which I know she will not complain about at all. She loves fun, quirky socks, especially house socks. So these, what I did is on the heel flap, I was supposed to pick up 10 stitches and I picked up 9. I have tried them on. They are fine so far. I think I'm just going to have to make sure to extend and actually give myself enough room for my toe decreases and make sure that I've got plenty of room all the way down. So far, they fit great. They're super comfy, and yeah, I'm really happy with this. So those are my Sunday socks by Petite Knit. I don't think I actually said that full thing in the beginning. And yeah, definitely a project I would recommend to anybody that is starting out in sock work. So the reason that I picked those up, kind of moving into my second work in progress, is my sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So this sweater is made up with some hand-dyed wool that I dyed a couple years ago, as well as a Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the color Deep Petroleum. Right now, with the two yarns working together, my only complaint, and I don't remember if I discussed this on my first podcast, is the mohair has not been rinsed thoroughly after it was dyed. So as I'm working on it, I don't know if I've said this before, but I'm a continental knitter, so I hold it and I throw with my left hand. I'm always holding like this, and I will have like a huge blue mark across my pinky and into my palm, and sometimes around my ring finger as well. Other than that, I really don't have any complaints. I have already been thinking about when I first wash and block this sweater, I'm probably going to add in a little bit of vinegar or something along those lines to make sure that that color does not bleed into my wool. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I really love the colors that are in my sweater so far, and I don't really want them to go too far on the blue side. So that is something that I'm going to do just as a precautionary. So first of all, I'll just show you how far I got in my sweater. So we're right here, and oops, hold on. Yeah, okay, I just want to make sure where my marker was from last week. So we're right here. Last week we were to this marker here, and now we're bound off. I finished my bind off, and I'm so excited. So that was part of the reason why I picked up my Sunday socks, is now I'm at the point where I need to knit my sleeves, and I want to be able to do 2 at a time and knock these out together, making sure that my decreases are happening together, making sure that if I'm doing something to one sleeve, I'm doing it to the other, because a lot of times I will modify sleeves. That's something that I want to make sure that whatever modifications I do end up making on these sleeves, if any, that I'm doing them at the same time. But I decided I wanted to finish the other socks for, it's been a couple weeks since I had worked on those socks, and I wanted to make sure that I had it in my head how to work in the round through, you know, like doing 2 at a time, and make sure that I don't goof anything up, because I would rather screw up on those tester socks than on this sweater. So I will show you, we were able to make, well, I was able to make a good amount of progress just over the course of a couple days since our last podcast video. And then I did, oh, sorry, I'm getting into my loose ends there. I did do my bind off edge. I don't know if there's another name for this, but I did a 1/2 bind off. So on a normal cast off or bind off, whatever, you'll have 2 stitches on your right needle. You take the first one, you pull it over, right? This is something where you'd have 3 needles on your right, or 3 stitches on your right needle. You pull the first one off, you knit 1, you pull the first one off. So it's a 1/2. And I do really, really like it. I like the structure. I like, I'll show you another bit of it here in a way that hopefully you can see exactly how it kind of curls a little bit there. Obviously this is the front and this one is the back, but I do really love the look of it. I had done my initial bind off and it had been way too tight. No matter what I did, I was trying to be as loose as I possibly could. It was way too tight. And this was right after I had gotten in that Vogue knitting book, and I had been looking at the different bind off, and I thought this one looked so beautiful in the picture. I was like, well, I'm gonna try that one. So I went up half a needle size and did my bind off, and I don't know if I'll be able to get this in the picture. I may have to insert something. Oh no, you can see it. Okay, you can see that it still does cut in from, you know, the sides to that waist. It still kind of does this, right? So that is something I'm not terribly excited about. I'd much rather it be straight down. And I don't know, I'm hoping that with blocking, I can get it to kind of straighten itself out and be a bit more stretched out. I am someone that has a small bust, a smaller waist, and then I go up significantly for my hips. And with that being said, I try to find a good, how am I trying to say this? So I want to have something that's just slightly oversized enough that it can fit over my hips, but I don't want it to feel baggy on the rest of my body. I hope that makes sense. It is something that I struggle with significantly. It's very frustrating for me because again, then my shoulders are wide enough that in some sweaters I've made modifications to try to make them fit my waist a little bit better, but then honestly, I can't even fit them over my shoulders. They're way too small. So it's different things that I've tried that have not worked, and that's why with this sweater I decided I wasn't going to make a darn tootin' change to it. I was gonna leave it alone and just see how I like the fit. I love this sweater in the sample, and I decided I wasn't gonna mess with it. So this is something that I'm hoping I can work on these sleeves this week. I'm hoping I can finish up those socks tonight or maybe tomorrow at the latest, get working on these sleeves and get them done. My goal is to have the whole thing done by next week. I would really, really love to have 2 finished objects for you next week and maybe be starting a project, but we'll just see how that goes. That is my sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. That's that sweater, and hopefully that will be done next week. Let's see, so moving on, I know in my last video I didn't include any acquisitions. My video was getting long enough that I decided just to not include those, but this week I figured I would go ahead and share with you the couple things that I've gotten in and kind of my impression on them. So I had placed an order, 2 orders on December 30th, and one was with Hobbii, which is a Danish brand. They've got an app, and then I had found them a couple years ago, and I had ordered a while back. I had ordered in their Diablo mohair, and had plans of making a specific sweater. I believe it was the Stockholm sweater. I got the yarn deciding that I was not in the right position in my knitting journey to take something like that on, because I wanted a really, really nice sweater. I just didn't want to not be happy with the finished object. So I put that yarn away, and recently I went through and I was cleaning everything out and making sure what I had in stock and what I did and didn't have. And I found the yarn that I intended for that sweater and decided that was not good yarn for that sweater. So I had purchased, I think the brand is, I think it's called Vintage from Hobbii. And I had purchased that yarn, and when I was looking at it last weekend or whatever it was, I realized that it's more of like an unspun texture. So you're working with it hardly at all, and it's just pulling apart. It does not have any twist to it. It doesn't really have very good structure. So I think I'm gonna hold off on that yarn and maybe find a different pattern for it. I will double check on the structure of that yarn to see if it is wool or something else, and maybe make some slippers or something like that. But the other yarn that I had was, like I said, the Diablo mohair, and so I went ahead and ordered more of that. I will show you. So this is the yarn that I had, and it is kind of in a burnt orange rusty tone. Here on screen it's showing a bit more orange, but it's probably about more like what you see here. And I will include the color numbers and everything down below. So I had I think 4 skeins of this, 100 grams. And I decided, rather than making, I think it was the Stockholm sweater, rather than making that, something else that I wanted to make even more was the Carhill sweater by Rebecca Clow. So I want to make that one really, really bad at some point this year. If I get to it sooner than later, great. But I knew I wanted it in this tone. So I believe that I can't remember if it's one of her samples or if it's somebody that, in the project photos and Ravelry, but I saw this, I loved it. I knew this is what I wanted to do. This is not 100% mohair. This is acrylic mohair and nylon. I know that. I knew that when I ordered more of it, but I did not want to waste the 100 grams that I already had. So rather, I kind of did the great debate on whether to proceed using this blend and use a nice wool and make the Carhill sweater with that, or if I went ahead and proceeded with getting like a soft silk mohair from Knitting for Olive or something like that, because I do really like that other yarn that I'm using in my sweater number 9. But I decided that I didn't want to waste the yarn that I already had, and I needed to use it for something. It's the correct color. I was just going to use it. So anyway, long story short, I went ahead and purchased more of this mohair. It did come in yesterday, so it took 9 days to arrive, which seems longer than what it's taken in the past, maybe because of the holidays, I'm not sure. But I did just want to point out the yarn came in a bag, and it was folded over, and I was super careful about cutting into it, and yet I still cut into, where'd it go? Right there. I still cut into the bag. So I'm not super excited about their packaging. I did want to make a note of that, because as soon as I was, you know how you do when you get yarn in the mail and you're not sure how it's packaged, you barely cut. And so the fact that I cut through this, I was very thankful I didn't actually cut my yarn, but I was a bit irked. Thankfully it wasn't incredibly expensive or anything like that, but I really wasn't happy. I pull out my 3 skeins of mohair, and I don't know if you can tell. Maybe. These 2 are a different lot number than this one, and this one matches all the rest of my mohair. Why would you send me 3 skeins, 2 from a different lot number than the third one, I really, really wish they would have sent me a message and said, hey, just so you know, we've only got this in. Is that okay? And at least let me make up my mind as far as what I want to do versus being surprised with this, because it was so noticeable that I opened up the package, I pulled out my yarn and I went, whoa, this is brown and this is, you know, not mustard, obviously. This is orange. Like, there was that much of a drastic difference. And I am thankful that in the viewfinder, I cannot tell a difference. But I'm going to have to make sure that when I make that sweater, I'm going to have to rotate through my skeins of yarn. I'm really not excited about that. But I am excited about the sweater. I don't know when I'm going to start it, but we'll see. So anyway, that is my Diablo from Hobbii. It's 40% acrylic, 30% mohair, and 30% nylon. And you can see, yeah, it's just a nice, fluffy, soft. I mean, it's wonderful. Like, it feels wonderful. Obviously, I haven't used it yet. I did make up a swatch, I believe, and I liked it when I was swatching it. It does not seem, I'm just trying to separate a strand right now from the rest of the ball, and it does seem like it's very much stuck together. So we'll see how this goes when I decide to make the sweater, but who knows? Maybe I'll regret doing this all over the place, but hopefully not. I also had enough points with Hobbii that I could purchase something, I know, like with my points, and they've got like a limited catalog for doing that. And in my first vlog, I discussed doing a t-shirt. See, I've got too many pattern names in my head. I just can't remember what they all are. The Tulsa tee, but again, by Rebecca Clow. I want to make one of those, and I don't know. I mean, I've got a lot of different ideas in my head. We'll just put it that way. I have a lot of ideas in my head. So one of the things that they had on their list that you could get with your points was a sampler pack of their cotton. And that's what I decided to get. And I could tell, thankfully they have pictures that they compare. Hold on, let me go grab one of them. Okay, so here is a normal cotton yarn from Hobbii. This is the Rainbow 88 that is 100% cotton. It is a number 3, so sport weight. And is that right? I can't remember. If not, I'll make a note. That's one of the things I have a hard time with, remembering what order they go in. This is in the color 20. I think it's petroleum green. I love this color so much, and I know that I'm gonna make a sweater with this, or a tee with this at some point. I don't have enough to make a full tee, I don't think. I'll figure that out when I get it. But anyway, this is a normal size of their yarn. It is, hold on, I forgot to tell you how many grams. 50 grams, okay? And then this is what I got in the mail. Do you see? Do you see how bitty baby that thing is? I'm sure with the plastic you can't really see, but there you go. That's good enough, right? They are 10 gram skeins. There's 10 of them in there. I decided to go for the muted color, or yeah, I think it was the muted collection. This one has yellow, orange, burgundy, kind of a fuchsia, deep purple, dark gray, dark green, what looks like a deep petroleum, dark navy, and a cobalt. So there are a lot of beautiful colors in here. I'll try to insert a picture of all of them, so that way in the packaging right now, it's just going to be a mess if I try to pull these out. But I'll try to include a picture here so you can see. I love the colors. I know that they're going to really look great with the other cotton yarn that I have from Hobbii. And so I am excited to use these, and it's kind of a nice way to see if I like certain colors without committing to purchasing a whole bunch of 50 gram skeins. So I'm not mad about it. I was just, I don't know. I guess I didn't pay attention to the fact that they were 10 gram skeins and just how little yarn that would be, but that's okay. It's so cute. Anyway, so that's my Hobbii order. That was all I got this time. Then I got my order in from LindeHobby. That was the other shop that I had purchased from, also on the 30th. And can you tell when I sat and started to figure out exactly what all I wanted to make for this coming year? But this, I thought it was a US company when I placed my order. I thought it said that it was shipping from New Jersey. This shipped from Denmark. So it took 10 days. It actually arrived just before I started filming today. And I am really happy with the order. I really like the way it was packaged. So it was in a cardboard box. And then all of the, so I ordered 2 sweater quantities, and all of that yarn was packaged in plastic that was like vacuum sealed. And so they were separate and, you know, really safe. And then the other yarns, the kind of the 2 loose ones that I'll show you, were just in there at the bottom so that they weren't anywhere near where you would cut into the box. There was no issue with cutting in and hitting anything. I was just much happier with that experience than my experience yesterday. So that was part of the reason I wanted to include that. But first of all, to go with my Carl Hill sweater, hold on one second. I wanted to get this for you too. So to go with my Carl Hill sweater, I ordered, it's Navia Uno, and this is 100% wool, 50 gram skein. Oh my goodness, my throat. Says it is a, Faroese, Shetland, and Australian lamb's wool. That's cool. Yep, fingering weight, which I knew that's part of the pattern, that part of what's called for that pattern. Color 167. So that is the yarn that I ordered. Here is, oh, we'll do it this way. It doesn't want to focus on the mohair, but that's the combination that I'm going for. I think that's going to be so pretty. I always get nervous when I'm ordering anything that's going to go together as far as how it's going to adjust the color, but I think that's going to be really nice. So I didn't want anything that was orange. I didn't want anything that was brown, because I have a sweater already that's in a color similar to this that I had actually purchased. I think it was at the thrift store, but it was or maybe it was on Poshmark, but it's a brand from Target. I love the sweater. And even though I haven't knit it, obviously, it's beautiful. I wear it all the time in the fall, and I like that color enough, but I didn't want to have 2 items that were the same color. So I am excited to kind of put the 2 of these together and see what I get out of it. Hopefully I can swatch that and share that with you here soon. Yeah, I think I'm really gonna like that though. It feels great. It does not, it's a little, oops, hold on, let me grab a different one. I mean, it's definitely rustic, but I tend to do just fine with wool. I can't remember if I mentioned this previously, I have a wool sweater that is wonderful. I have no problems wearing it. It does have a low set collar on it, and so it does not go up on my neck, and that may be part of the reason why I do okay with it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be just fine with this combination, and I'm so excited. It's so pretty. I'm just gonna keep showing you because, eek, it's so pretty. And then, hold on, let me pick this thing up. Okay, and then the next yarn that I bought was for the Korshavn cardigan by Tanya Hodney. This sweater, so I'm going to talk about her a whole bunch in this video. I have started watching, a couple weeks ago, I started watching a new, to me, knitting podcast. It is AKA Nora Knits. I will link her down below. She is lovely. I highly recommend watching her videos. She is so sweet, so real, and I just feel like she could be one of my best friends. But she has been knitting this sweater, and granted, she's been working on it for like, I don't know, what is it, like 3-4 months now, because it's her second version and she knows what the outcome is going to be, and so it's not top of her priority list. but I thought that the sweater was so beautiful, and I knew that it was something that would be a great textural piece for my wardrobe, and I knew that I wanted to make it. I also decided that I have quite a few fall, you know, like brown toned cardigans, and I wanted to make something that would be kind of nice for like late winter into spring. So I decided to make something in purple. And so what I ordered from LindeHobby was Jarbo 100% wool. I'll show it here. It's kind of a dusty mauve color. Oh my gosh. So this, it's in Swedish. Couldn't tell you what it says. 100 grams for our 300 meters. It is, I think it's a sport weight. It's saying, I think that's 3.5 millimeter recommended needle size. So I think that's, is that right? So anyway, I bought this, and then I was searching everywhere, and this was part of like, I was searching like 7 or 8 different shops, and I finally decided on just these 2 to order from, trying to figure out what I wanted to put with it. I knew I wanted to do a mohair just to soften it up, and in case I wore it over a t-shirt or something like that. And I decided that one of the mohairs I haven't tried yet, which, mind you, the only mohair I've used are in the video that you've watched so far. So the one that I decided to try that I have heard a lot about though is Drops Kid Silk, and I decided to buy this gorgeous deep purple tone, which you can see is drastically different than the wool that I purchased. But again, I'm so nervous every time I do this, every time I order and decide to use 2 yarns that are going to go together. It's a little bit scary because you don't know what you're going to get. It's not like they have sample of what the color combinations are going to be. So I just kind of twist the 2 together. I think that's going to be beautiful though. Like just a slight variegation on the dark tone. I'm so excited. So this is going to be, I'm going to try to be able to put a picture up here next to me. This is going to be my Korshavn cardigan by Tanya Hodney, and again, something that I hope to be able to cast on here in the near future. I would love to be able to have it for spring. I think that would be so nice to be able to wear with like a long sleeve white t-shirt or something along those lines. That's just going to be amazing. So I'm really excited about that. Back on the Tulsta tees that we were talking about. So last podcast I mentioned how I had that dark blue Berroco Comfort yarn that I wanted to make a Tulsta tee out of. She had made a Tulsta tee that she was wearing around one of her videos right before either Christmas or New Year's, I can't remember. It was black, and it had a black metallic variegated yarn or thread worked in, and I thought it was so gorgeous. Like I just paused the video and I told my husband, I need to make one of those. That is stunning. So I decided that with that acrylic yarn that I have, I was going to incorporate the same variegated metallic thread that she had. So that was part of the primary reason why I ordered from LindeHobby, is that they had the yarn that she used. So this is the yarn that I intend on using. You can see that glitter. It's Kremke Soul Wool Stellaris. Oops, hold on, there we go. Now you can see it. This is 47% viscose, 41% polyester, and 12% metallic yarn, 560 meters for 25 grams. So that sucker is gonna last for a long time, I believe. And I am really excited about having this. While I was looking at it, I was like, hey, I wonder what colors they have. And you know how you do. You decide to buy another one. So this one, I'm sorry. So the dark blue is color 149. And then the second one that I purchased is color 183. This is like cream with a gold. And I thought this would be really beautiful if I have like a natural toned cotton. Maybe use this on just the collar and the cuffs or something along those lines. Just something to just zhuzh it up a little bit. Or if I decide to do a little lace work, I could see incorporating this into like the lacework section, like you know how the ranunculus has just that lacework across the top, something like that. I think that would be stunning, and I decided to just purchase it now because why not? And I just also want to make note, like I said before, it took about 10 days for this to arrive to me. That is including the holidays, or at least New Year's, but just something to note if I run out of this one and I need more of it. And I need to remember how long it took for this to get to me, because I have a feeling that's going to happen. The last thing I ordered were some buttons. These, I think that they were labeled as horn buttons. Ooh, those are actually really cool. I hadn't taken them out of the package yet. And again, I was significantly influenced by Nora. And you'll have to watch the video. It's a great story that she tells about going into a store and purchasing these buttons that were absolutely perfect for her Korshaven cardigan. And I think those buttons were beautiful and I want some myself. I do not think these are going to be it. They are a little on the small side and I think I want something a bit larger. I am lucky enough, however, that my husband has sheds that he's found throughout the years. So he's promising me at some point he's going to cut one of those antlers and hopefully make me some buttons like Nora's out of those, which I would absolutely love to put with my purple combination. That's my intention. But these, so I'll just show you this one. This is kind of the coolest one, I thought. You can see it's got some like texture in it there, but these are the bone buttons that I purchased. They're all slightly different, just with some variegation, a little bit lighter colors. These are polished on the back and on the sides, so they're not gonna really catch on anything, even on the front, even on this one may end up catching, I don't know if you can see that. That one may end up catching something at some point, but the other three are fairly smooth, so I don't think they're gonna be a problem if I were to have even like a mohair get caught on this. I don't think I'm gonna have that issue. So I'm really happy with those. Again, those were all purchased from LindeHobby, which is a Danish company. Even though I swear, I thought they were from New Jersey. Oh well, I'm really happy with them though. I would highly recommend ordering from them. They've got some great options, a lot of different yarn to choose from, and really happy with the amount of time that it took to arrive. So definitely would recommend. As far as plans go, again, kind of bringing up Nora. So I've been trying to think how I wanted to do things for my knitting this year. And initially my plan was just to work through the yarn that I have and, you know, just do one thing at a time. Don't order a bunch of yarn, don't have it all sitting here waiting to be used, because it won't be used. And I know in some instances that is the case. However, she recently posted her kind of plans guide map for the year video as far as, you know, what her intentions were and things that she wanted to focus on. And one of the things she mentioned that really resonated with me was having yarn on hand for projects that she knows that she's going to want to do, but maybe that's not going to happen until 6 months from now. Maybe the way that she put it is, let's say I'm working on a bunch of stockinette and I'm just getting burnt out on stockinette. Maybe I go to that sweater that I wasn't planning on doing until July, September, you know, later in the year, because I want something different. I want a different yarn weight. I want a different color. I want a different texture. And then working on it when I'm in the mood to do that style versus waiting and trying to knit specifically for the season or specifically what I have on hand. So like I said, that really resonated with me. So I am going to purchase some things probably in the near future things like sock yarn. I mean, I've got things for sweaters, I've got things for tees, but I'm definitely going to go through and really make sure that I have some different yarns on hand that I know I'm going to want to use. Some good basics like some really nice wool, you know, just various colors, things along those lines. If you're noticing, a lot of what I'm starting to get into is a smaller gauge. It's incredibly intimidating for me because I know it's going to take longer. I know that it's going to be, it's just new for me. I've done everything in a DK or bulky, you know, somewhere in that range, and you know, DK worsted bulky. That's where I've lived for a while, and I love the feel of it. Part of it is I do run warm a lot of times, and so I like something that has a little bit of air circulation through it. And I know that some of these pieces that I'm potentially looking into, I'm trying to find things that will still give me coolness, and I've heard that wool can help me with that. So that's where I'm really focusing a lot of my energy. I am going to be looking for some different patterns, like I've talked in my last video, for some Christmas gifts. So I am going to start ordering yarn for those so that if I'm in the mood to just pick up a small hat project or a cowl colorwork project or whatever it might be, then I have things on hand kind of earmarked for a certain project that I can do, that I can work on while I'm in the mood for that project. So we'll see. I'm kind of hoping that that will be something that I can start to bring in. I'm not looking to spend a ton of money at once, so it's definitely going to be slow progress. I'm also going to have to order some needles, like for the sock yarn, things along those lines. So small things are kind of in my future, but I don't know how soon. We'll just kind of see. But other than that, I've had a great time visiting with you guys, and I hope that you love this video. I would love to hear if you have any experience. Uh-oh, I don't know if you can hear Curly. He's getting hungry for his dinner time, so I'm gonna have to wrap this one up. But if you have any experience using any of these yarns, the Jarbo, the Uno wool, I would love to hear your experience with them. Also, if you have any experience with something, like I was saying, with this deep petroleum, if you have any experience with that, please let me know. I would love to hear your feedback and kind of get some suggestions as far as to washing and blocking that first time to make sure that it doesn't bleed. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Be sure to like and comment and subscribe. It really makes a big difference for my channel, and I cannot tell you enough how much I thank you for spending your time with me today. And I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you on Wednesday with another video and next Saturday with my next podcast. I hope you have a great one. Bye.